And apparently, last week's show, I missed a $20 Snapchat, not Snapchat, Super Chat, and I didn't answer it, and I feel bad about that. So I'm going to go back through and answer this question now. I was asked, do you think that if we are living in a, do you think that we, try it again. Do you think that if we are living in an infinite universe, that there could possibly be something out there that qualifies as a deity? Also, what do you think about the simulation theory? Okay, this is a topic I've talked about quite a bit. It's one of my favorite theories. It's really not theory. It's more of a hypothesis than a theory, because there's no evidence to back it up really yet, and I don't really know how you would falsify it. So if you don't falsify evidence, it's not really a theory. It's a hypothesis. But yes, I do think it's absolutely possible that we're living in some sort of simulation, which would make whatever being or artificial intelligence or whatever is programming the simulation some sort of deity. I would think though that whatever like the main world is, like if we're inside of a simulation, then there's be a main world that houses the computers or whatever it is that is running these simulations. And in that main world, whatever biological beings there are in that main world would have come about themselves through evolution and natural selection that come naturally instead of being created by a deity themselves. So whatever the main world is wouldn't have a deity per se, but it's possible that the programmer of this world does. And basically, simulation theory is this: it's based off a few very basic assumptions that seem incredibly logical to me. I don't have any evidence for them, but I play video games, and so I can imagine this. I can imagine that it's possible that there could be in the future a civilization of human beings, and it doesn't even have to be a civilization of human beings. It could be a civilization of aliens, could be a civilization of artificial intelligence, could be anything, but that have the ability to simulate worlds such as this. And if you played video games, you know how good they're getting at simulating worlds. And it wouldn't even have to be the entire universe they simulate. It would just have to be like, it could just simply be like my character and just the stuff I'm seeing. Like if you play a video game, you know that it doesn't render out the entire universe in the video game all at once. All it does is render out whatever you're seeing through your character's eyes. So like if I'm looking this way and I'm seeing the game world out in front of me, it's not rendering out the game behind me because I'm not looking at it. It only renders out what you're seeing. So the simulation wouldn't necessarily have to render the whole universe as a whole. It won't have to render out what your character's seeing and the small area your character is seeing. So it wouldn't really take that much computational power to render out small simulations such as this one. So the assumptions are this: do you believe it's possible or even probable that someday a technologically advanced society of humans or even aliens on another planet, could be, doesn't even have to be humans at all, will reach the level of technology where they can simulate worlds such as this one, even on a small degree, like just your own personal location? Yes, it seems very probable that our human society will be able to create simulations such as this someday. And even if it's not our society, it could be a race of aliens, or it could be some artificial intelligence we created. Very probable. Okay, so the second assumption is, well, if they do that one time, if they're capable of simulating worlds one time, then most likely they would do that more than once. So why would they only have one simulation? Obviously, they'd be simulating different types of scenarios and different types of worlds. So they would have many, 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 many different simulations. So for every main world there would be these computers running an unlimited, an incalculable number of sub simulations like this. So for every one main world there are lots and lots and lots of simulated worlds, which means mathematically it is more likely that you are in one of the simulated worlds than you are in one of the main worlds, because there are many, many, many more of them than there are main worlds. So by logic, obviously you're more likely to be in one of the many worlds. All those assumptions sound very logical to me, which makes it seem like we could very well be living in a simulation, or maybe even my little world here is a simulation. I have no idea. But I have no way to falsify this. I have no evidence this is true, so it's not something I believe. It's just something I think is possible, something I think based on the assumptions is probable, but since I can't falsify it or have any evidence to prove it, I don't believe it. I just think it's cool to talk about. Something cool to think about.